We did not match, by the way, but we are matching.
Yeah, well,
Literally.
you had
Black blouse or black blazer and like a V-neck.
uh-huh.
That's
It's
bizarre.
kind of cute.
It's cute. But we didn't plan it.
We didn't plan it, but I was
That's what
I
it
was
is.
sensing. I was like, "Ooh, she's
We
wearing
were
a black
vibing.
jacket. I'm going to do that too." So, did you watch? I just have to ask. Did you watch our my recording with Lori and Jackie
From which day?
from the last episode?
No.
You
She sent
should.
it to me, but I didn't listen to it. I didn't have time yesterday.
You should because we talked about you.
Oh, no. No.
We did.
Oh, great.
We
No, I
did.
did not.
Yep. Because I was telling her, I was like, guess what I did? I was like, well, you connected me with Angie, who I love. I was telling him how the moment, literally, I got to Governor's Cup and waited, and you knew what I look like, but I didn't know what you look like. And
Surprise.
so everybody came in the door. I was like, that must not be her. They're walking in with purpose. That's not them. That's not her. And then all of a sudden, I told uh, Lori and Jackie, I was like, and then she opened the door, and she did a little smile, and I was like, that's her. I love her already. I was, I was like, and then she gave me. I'm a big hugger, so when somebody hugs me back, and Dina is that way too. Dina's all like,
Yes.
don't just like, we were talking about like the awkward little like, oh, that's awkward
Hmm.
when you just kind of those. Oh, I don't like those. Like, if you're just gonna go in for the embrace, just give me the bear hug, and you
Yeah.
bear hug, and I love it because I'm that way. People say,
Mm.
"Wow, you're a really good hugger," and I'm like, "Yeah, I hope you feel like I care." I wouldn't hug somebody I didn't want to, but I
Yeah.
also think it's I don't know. I think for maybe it's my family culture that I grew up
Yeah.
doing that. So I love the other huggers. So Dina and I, when we see each other, we're just like, oh, just hug me a little bit more for a second. And so you did that. And I was just telling the girls on that episode, I'm like, Lori, do you know Angie Newton? And I was just telling them how much it was like instant love when I saw you. So yeah, you got to watch that episode.
Oh, okay. Well, it's on my to watch list. I just didn't have time yesterday,
Yeah.
so I will.
Yeah. It was all good
Um,
things. All good
oh,
things.
good.
We okay, before we get started, I have to know, how did you do in the
Yes,
race? Because so what I learned about you when we first, because we just became friends,
we did.
and you're probably one of the most genuine people I've ever met.
Oh, goodness.
Really.
You're making me blush already.
No, you really are. It's like, you
Oh,
just feel like, I felt in a sense that I got the sense that I've known you a long time, yet I didn't know you. And I just think you're just so real. Like, and we talked about that. Like, you just want to be authentic and really true to who you are. And so I love that. And I could sense that. And so there was no like trying to show up well. And she's like, here I am. And so one of the things you told me was that you started doing um, rowing, the dragon boat races.
yes,
I gotta know.
correct.
How did it go?
Oh,
Because you just
man.
did your first one.
I
I
did. I
go,
just did my first race in Tacoma, and it was epic. So it was on the Puget Sound, saltwater. We practiced the Willamette, so it's not saltwater; it's just a river. And so we have been coached that like our paddles are going to be bouncing back, and so have a firm grip and all these things. So we get out on the boat, and I am like, okay, breathing deep, and then we just start paddling. And the first race, I think we're 10 seconds, so it's like about a minute and 40 seconds, minute and 30, depending on our time. About a minute and 20 seconds in, and it's a sprint. And this is the first race, like 8:30 in the morning, and it's freezing. And I'm like, oh, I'm out. I'm out of gas. I've been sprinting too long. I don't know, but I just kept going. And I'm like, I hope it's close to the end because I can't tell. You're not supposed to look anywhere. And we ended up racing and placing second. So
oh,
it was an
you
epic.
did not.
I medaled on my first race. It was
Wow.
amazing. So my team is a bunch of baddies, like incredible women who have been paddling for like 15, 20, some of them 30 years. So
Okay.
sage women. Yeah.
How did you tell me again? How did you even find
Right? How
that?
did I stumble
I don't know
upon?
if you told me that. Did you?
I don't think I did, but Megan Trowbridge, who is one of our community partners in the area, she works for United Way, Willamette Valley. She just asked me one night after we were at an event together. She goes, "Hey, what are you doing on a Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night?" And I go, "Well, once a month, Mondays and Thursdays, I have meetings, but I don't know. It sounds like I might be hanging out with you." And then she's like, "Do you want to come paddle like on the dragon boat?" And I go, "It's like you've known me. I've wanted to do this since I saw the World Beat Festival." And so I was like hooked the first practice I went to. And then I asked the coach, I said, "How do I join?" And they're like, "This is it. You liked it. You're in."
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. And then second race or second practice, they said, "Will you snap in and join for our first race that's coming up in a couple of weeks? You're ready." And I'm like, "Really?" So yeah.
How many are in the boat?
20 plus our collar and our steer. So 22.
So where were you in the boat? Like,
Oh, well, for this particular race, I was in the third row. So there were rows of two. So I was
yeah.
in the third row in the front. Yeah,
Wow.
on the right hand side.
And it was freezing.
Freezing cold. It was like gonna rain and thunderstorm and lightning. And actually, it was clear for most of the races until the final heat for us. We got out onto the water. It's our last race, and we're competing for first, second, third at that point. And we were the first boat out, and the waves are just I mean, I don't know, they were like coming into the boat, so we're bailing water and there's rain and the cloud is just getting darker, and we're like, "Can we start this race, because we could literally be off and out." And we didn't want lightning to hit because then they'll call it. And so we had to just race. The last race was just this like, yeah, this storm cloud that we just raced through. It was awesome because it was like, this is like mighty Viking strength. Like you're just powering through against the wave, against the current that's coming in. Because yeah, it was amazing. But then we found out later, because that was like for the last heat of the day, to get canceled because of the lightning started. And I mean, it just started absolutely storming on us. So yeah,
Wow. And now
yeah.
you were an athlete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
In high
so
school. I mean, I'm old now, but yes,
you're not that old, but
I'm old.
you are competitive. See, I'm not a competitor,
Yes.
but I love the energy. I love
Yes.
I you know, once it's over, I don't hold on to like a win or a loss. It's like, okay, where my kids they're really competitive, some of them, and
Yeah.
Danny would just be like, yeah, she's a basketball player. And so
Yeah.
do you,
Hmm.
if you didn't play, well, and this is new, I was gonna say, if you didn't place, would that have stuck with you, stung?
Oh, I mean, I would use it as an opportunity to go like, "Oh, how would we improve?" Because what's wonderful about our team, and this is what's really cool, is I can show you my caller, the person in front of the boat that's facing us. She wears AI glasses, and so it's recording our entire race, and you can see everything. So you can see our alignment, who's off, and so that we watch live film, just like you're in football and you watch your film. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
are part of, yeah, like you watch your film. Same, we watched our film, and it was awesome. I mean, I we were all getting pumped rewatching the videos, but yeah, if we had not placed, it wouldn't have been life threatening or like, "Oh, I would never do this again," nothing like that. But it would have definitely. They kept saying like, "Not everybody places. You don't usually medal on your first race," and it's like, "Wow, this is cool." But
Yeah.
then I found out that I'm with like a really good team, so who knew?
Yeah, because it's not
Yeah.
like you were looking for a team. You just
No, I
had,
had no idea. I didn't even know the name of the team. And in fact, I knew somebody that was on the team after I started. I go, "Oh, my friend who I knew was a dragon boater forever." And it's like, "I didn't know your team name. I didn't know the team I was joining. I was just showing up to a practice." That's how I showed up.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I came
Yeah.
home from that and it was like, I just got to see. I didn't know. I thought this was like a thing, like nobody can just get on. So when you said, I was like, I just kind of looked up, I'm so curious. I got on and checked it out, and then it was like, come try for free. And I was like, ooh, if Angie can
Yes.
do it, I'm going to
Wait, are you
try.
doing it?
Yes. So I texted you to say, I
Oh my
literally,
goodness, you did.
June 14th, they had, so two of them were full. And so June 14th, they still had slots. And I'm like, why not? Why not? I don't know what I'm
That's where
doing.
yeah, that's after our Seattle race. We're all going to be driving back that day
Okay.
for that night. So I don't know if I'm going to practice. Depends on the night
So I
how
don't
that
know
race
if
goes.
that's, I don't like how many boats are
Yeah.
there. I don't know where I'll be, but I was like, I just want to try. That just sounds so fun.
Well, our club here is the World Beat Club, and so there's tons of teams, and we have a lot of community boats that will be participating in the World Beat.
That's so
So,
fun.
yeah.
So when is your next one?
So June 12th, 13th,
Oh,
14th, up in
okay.
Seattle. It's during FIFA.
Wow.
So it's going to be a madhouse. But yeah, it's going to be amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congrats on the win.
Thanks.
Placing.
Yeah.
That's so great. Now you got to keep it up. It's like a challenge.
Oh, yeah. I know.
That's cool. Um,
Yes.
the other thing that we have in common, that we're both moms
Yes, we are.
of multiple children.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd love to ask us is, for the ones who are moms, is give me 2 words for each one of your kids.
Ooh,
So
that's a
they're
great
how
one.
old?
I have a 19, 17, and 15-year-old.
Oh, you are in it.
Um, yeah, I have graduation next week for my middle. Um, so I would say my my oldest, so my first
Yeah.
born, I would say that he is, oh man, he's super, 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 probably wouldn't like me saying this, but he's very tender. He's a very tender-hearted young man. And he's also extremely generous. So
Oh.
that's the way I would describe him. He's tender and very generous,
Mm.
even though you would never catch that from looking at him. Like, and he
Yeah.
would not like to be described that way, but
Sure.
how I see him and how I view him.
Yeah.
My second, well, his middle name is a word that sticks with him is a warrior. So we did adopt our children, so their names were given to them. So their middle names are what we got to give them. And so warrior does still embody who he is as a human. And I love how much he has overcome so many things in his life. So
Yeah.
I think warrior. And then I would say that he is a creative
Ooh,
and
that's cool.
logistical creative. That's how I would.
Mm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like, he has an incredible brain that he can create worlds through video games or gaming systems or just storytelling. And so, but he's very linear and logical, but very creative. So that's a very unique left and right
Combo.
brain mix. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
My youngest, oh my, she is a caregiver by nature. So she's just the most empathetic woman I've ever met.
Mm.
And then I would say she has just the heart that is like a giver. So she will give everything, even to her own detriment.
Yeah.
So that's how I would describe those, my
Oh,
children.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's
they're
sweet.
awesome
I
humans.
love to hear moms talk about their kids and dads. I just was recording with a friend, and he was talking about his kids. It's like, I just love to hear when parents talk about their children. It's life giving, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but you're also a daughter,
Hmm.
and you have a mom. And when we met, I love your story, because it is one that it's not just grew up in a really nice home with a white picket fence. And I I when we were wrapping up our time together, it's the one thing I was like, oh my gosh, Angie, what if we talked about your mom? And it was Mother's Day. It was right before Mother's Day when we got together, and we were supposed to record last week. I've been really struggling with technical difficulties. I couldn't. I had to figure out what I was going to do, and so I had to reschedule on you. And so we didn't get to do it then, but I still want to do that now, because I think any week could be Mother's Day week, and I think our parents, you know, parents have such a huge privilege in their kids' life, and it's not. I think so often we promote a Facebook story, if I could say it that way, right? Of just,
Hmm.
here's me with my mom, and here's me with the pretty little dress on, and the little in the front of the little white picket fence, and all those. And your love for your mom, it just came through, and she sounded like she was somebody really special, who really had her own struggles. So
Hmm.
what 2 words would you tell me about your mom, just to start off, those first 2 words? I mean, you can give me 3 if
Oh.
you want, but I mean, I'm just.
Hmm. Well, my mom has passed. So the way I describe her is actually through imagery. So like sunflower is a really beautiful description. So you can kind of catch the embodiment of how she faced the world. And so
Mm,
a sunflower is one way I would describe her.
yeah.
Um, and then another way that I would say is she also was another generous spirit, like gave everything and had nothing really of herself to give, but she gave everything. She gave she that she could. So. Yeah,
Why
so
do you pick
generous sunflower.
sunflower?
Sunflower was her favorite flower, but sunflower is I know like how big that the centerpiece is and how they always move and turn towards the sun. That's
Yeah.
how my mom was with everybody she met. It seemed as though what she was going through or who she was in the room with, it's like her the way she just shone. It's like they became the sun and she just followed them. And it's funny that it was her favorite flower, but that it also was like a way to describe her as a human. Like she was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Just that's one of my favorite flowers, and I've never known that. Like how you described it, it's like, oh wow, that's really beautiful.
They move. If you ever catch it, they actually like move
Yeah,
and
that I
follow that
didn't
sun.
know.
And they're huge. So yeah.
Yeah, wow. Um, Tell me what life, if you're open to it, what was childhood like?
Oh, right in, deep in.
Well,
Yes, of
you're
course.
about as
It's my
real.
yeah, I got
I'm
nothing.
real. I don't want fluff. So
Oh, no fluff for you. Okay.
no.
Well, I would say that my childhood was very based on ACEs scores. I'm a 9 out of 10. So if anybody's familiar with that, or if you're familiar with that, that can tell you a little bit about what is trauma in my background.
Oh,
Um,
for somebody who doesn't know what that means, what is that?
Adverse childhood experiences measure, they ask 10 questions and they go through forms of childhood abuse, neglect, and exposure to different traumas that become big T's. And they then prevent or like give you insight into possible outcomes like of comorbidities that you'll experience in the healthcare world, but just kind of being very mindful of who you are as a whole person.
Yeah.
And so when someone says that and you have a medical practitioner that is, attuned to that and is up on their trauma informed providers, they're going to have a better mind of how to holistically care for you. So it's also, in my work of working with foster youth,
Yeah.
we see that. So anyway, I have a 9 out of 10. So it's a high score. Average, usually most adults have about 3 or under, and that's a standard childhood. So it does mean that I had a lot of neglect, but that's just because that's a number. It doesn't really matter much to me. But I had an incredible mom who was young and had addictions and had some issues. So I was raised born in Seattle, Washington, not raised in any physical home that we owned or lived in. We were very nomadic. My mom was a free spirit. She probably was maybe considered a hippie. I was born in the 80s, and we lived a very transient life, and we just kind of followed the wind wherever her addictions or her loves were. We would just kind of move throughout the Northwest. So I have a lot of different places that I've lived, both with her friends or just maybe we'd camp out in the woods for a while. If it was like a kind of like a Woodstock party, there's some of that. A lot of that. Those are actually really cherished memories, because there's music and there's people, but also not a safe environment for a child to grow in. But yeah, I grew up pretty fast. We were friends because I took care of my mom with her addictions a lot. So probably a parentified child is what I would say.
Yeah.
But I'm not a therapist, so I don't like to use therapist terms. But yeah, we had some ups and downs, and I met my dad when I was about 8 years old. He had just had what he thought was his first child, and so we had my brother, and he had been married at this time. So my parents, both my bio parents, were never married. It was just kind of a quick little thing. And so I started visitations at the age of 8, and I saw him a couple times a year. And then at 13, things got pretty rough for me, and my outlet was always sports in school, and just really thriving in an environment where I could just be myself, and I was away from the environment that I was at in my home. And so I was in a situation that was unsafe. I had been dropped off at a basketball game, and then there had been a couple of weeks where my mom was missing, and I was just kind of couch surfing with some friends, going to a friend's house and another friend's house and doing some laundry, eating food, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we, I was getting some rumbles from the school counselor that there were some moms calling,
Yeah.
concerned about the well-being of me. And so I ended up having to make a phone call to my grandmother, Grams, and asked if I could maybe have her come grab me from the location I was staying at, and so that there was no authorities getting involved.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom's been missing and whatever. And so, long story short, we managed to kind of do that for a couple months, and then things got a little bit heightened. My mom ended up showing back up, and I'm not going to go through all those details, but
Yeah.
the short end of it is I ended up going and living with my dad, who ended up being very gracious, welcomed me in his home. And my mom kind of sorted her life out, and I made contact with her a little later in high school. And I didn't really believe she was clean. And so it took a little bit of, like slow regrowing that relationship. And then it was my freshman year of college. I saw her while I was in Portland for a conference. I was in, downtown Portland, and she called on my birthday. And I met her, and I was like, "Oh, you are very clean. I can tell. Like, I can definitely see you're a very different person." And I said, "Let's actually start a real relationship." And I ended up getting married a couple years later and moving here to Oregon, where she was living. And we started a slow relationship. And her story was pretty incredible, because the night that I left, um, she made some poor choices, and she went to try and end her life, and kind of had a radical intervention with a person who was a pastor in downtown Portland. And he ended up changing the trajectory of her life, and she could have gone down a very different road, but she ended up having an experience that made it so she was able to live a clean lifestyle. And she became kind of a radical influence on the streets of Portland because of that experience with that man and that encounter with God for her. And so it was a journey. And then I, after living here for a while, building relationship and all the things, I was going to school and became a respiratory therapist. And then she got diagnosed with lung cancer right after I graduated. And she was one of my patients. And then she had about 3 months left, and then she passed in my home. So yeah, fast. She was
Yeah.
46.
She was 46.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's a lot of details.
it's a yeah, it's a lot of details, and it's I think when we're growing up, I don't know about you, but I think, and maybe because of the way you did grow up, it wasn't quite like this because you were very nomadic. I wasn't very nomadic, but I remember thinking, um, as I got older and I was now unpacking my own bags and kind of doing my own mirror work, was coming to the realization, oh my gosh, like my mom is a woman just like me.
Mm.
Where I think we think like we hold our parents at a higher or just a different level, if I
Yeah.
could say it that way. It's just, oh, I remember going through my own and really coming to so much peace and healing with my own mom of going, oh, like, did you ever, I don't know if you've ever said these words when you were a kid or any point in your journey of, I'm never, I'm never going to be like her. And I'm never going to do what she did to me. And for me, it was divorce. That was really, I was really
Mm.
hard. And being in the middle of the war of the divorce with my parents. And I say, I'll never do to my kids what she's done to me. And when I was going through my early stages, to come to this humbling realization, oh my gosh. And her and I have had these conversations back then. Mom, I swore I was never going to be like you and do what you did to me. And when we looked at it, it was like almost to the year. I've lived it almost exactly like her, of like
Wow.
the issues. And so when I hear your story, it's like it's the same thing. It's like at one point, did you ever have that determination? Like I'm never. You can see the pain in your mom. Or you can see whatever in your mom. But I'm never going to be like that. I gotta. For you, it was sports. Did you ever think that?
Yes, of course. I mean, I say, or I identify myself as being forged through hatred, but I have
Mm.
uncovered and unsheathed that hatred. I don't hold a
Ooh.
lot of hatred anymore, but I think that that's what propelled me and strengthened me and was able to get me, build me through it just built resilience in me to be nothing. Because I said, I will never do anything. I'll never be anything like you, because I
Yeah.
hated her in my mind. And then, so I did everything the difference. Like my mom didn't graduate high school, or I'm not positive, she might have got her GED. It's a little
Yeah.
unclear. And so I didn't participate in drugs and alcohol and partying, or, I was an excellent athlete, excellent student, and I was very social. You would never know anything was wrong. And so I tried my hardest to be the opposite of who she was.
Yeah.
And then through the journey of like healing and forgiving and just seeing who she was and how determined she was to change her life and make those choices to be a human that could be safe in my life again,
Yeah.
um, all those barriers of hatred, all that resilience that like helped me. It made me cope and get through my life
Yep.
at that stage. I was able to shed a lot of that because like I don't hate her at all. I'm so thankful for my life. I'm so thankful for my experiences. I'm so thankful for who she was and how determined she was, because just like you said, you do hold your parent, you view them differently. You don't view them as a human or a person, a
No.
woman at 19, 18. Like mom was 19, 18 years old, had multiple stories of abortion before me, and I was the only child she ever had, and
Wow,
never had another child
really?
after. Yeah, I mean, she had a full-blown hysterectomy after me because of the traumatic birth that I provided for her.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh wow, okay, one and done. But she, like all of those experiences and all of that, it shapes us and it makes us. Yeah, I look at this at different stages that once I became a parent, I was like, wow, she was this years old and she was single and she was struggling, and that's a very lonely feeling. Like you can empathize, you build so much empathy, and you're also so much more connected.
Yeah.
And from as a woman to woman, as a mother to a mother, as a daughter to a daughter, like she didn't have a good experience as a child and as
Yeah.
a teenager and as an adult.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have a lot of empathy and
With
I can see
as a
differently.
woman who's just looking for what we would call like our Prince Charming, if we're looking for a husband, or in there, you said she had relationship issues, just
Oh yeah,
are you the one who'll make me feel chosen and beautiful? And obviously, we often are
yeah,
magnets to people who kind of match our self worth and our, a broken
hmm
woman is a magnet to a broken man. It tends to
yeah,
happen that way, or person to person, I should say. Um, and so I started seeing my mom. It's like she was just looking for Mr. Right and found some guys who were nice, but just not the right one. I was just always so mad. I was like, oh, why don't, and yet come to, as I hear your mom's story, just the beauty of that full circle of now you're her caregiver.
hmm
And she came and, oh, you're really clean. You could see the change. I say to my mom all the time, like, you are, my mom was, and really when I look back, she was a good mom when you see through the threads of
mm
even in dysfunction, like when you look at your mom as certain things, what you
hmm
cherish about her, you like you said in the woods of some of your fondest memories, even though it's not
hmm
safe, obviously. um there are these
yeah.
sweet moments even in dysfunction,
Oh yeah,
you know
yep.
and now she comes to the Lord. She's found a way. She's now free, walking
hmm
this new life out. What was that like? Because I thought you said when we talked about her briefly, because I was like, don't tell me everything about her because I want. Sometimes certain questions are really fresh, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just so beautiful or amazing.
Yes.
I think you said she had this huge impact on so many people in downtown Portland, right?
Yeah. hmm Yeah, she ended up getting published in a book called "It's a God Thing" by Louise Palau. So her little bit of her testimony is in there, kind of about that night that she left, that I left, because there was a codependent relationship, and that was a lot of the fear of me wanting to abandon her, is that I felt that I would be responsible for maybe her unaliving herself, and that was a fear of mine at a young age because I'd seen
Yeah.
her do some things, and there's a lot of threatening behaviors. And so
Yeah.
I knew that I had to walk away. And at 12 years old, at that point, it's like, how did I know that I would be able to do that? I don't know. So,
Wow.
yeah. And I just had to live with it. And then that story, when I read that, I just was like, oh, wow. It was just a miracle for her to have that providential meeting with this person who radically changed her life.
Yeah, what did you when you then read her story? Like
Yeah.
take me to that moment. Literally, like what did you learn about your mom through that?
Um, like the the darkness of mental health, bipolar. She was
Okay.
manic depressant is what they called it back in the day. Um, and just the emptiness. And I had seen her growing up having so many physical ailments of
Mm,
not being able to sleep and not being able to just live without pain, and you know, whether that be neurological pain or if it was psychological pain or what it was, but our pain manifests in our body, you know, through
Yeah.
whatever way. And the story when she talked about, well, I'm going to just pray this prayer because if I can sleep through the night, then maybe God is real. And I was like, oh, I've never seen my mom sleep through the night, like ever. Like she would
Wow.
sleep, she would take naps, it'd be like 20, 40 minutes, but it was like she couldn't really sleep. And that's the turning point in the story is that she woke up and she was in awe. Like she woke up from a night of sleep and was like, oh, that was enough for her to be like, God's real.
Yeah,
Because I mean, that it's just like to show the severity of like what her
totally.
body, what she'd been enduring for so many years. And it's just like, oh, wow. Like that seems small to maybe somebody else that maybe sleeps normally, but I knew what that meant as a child in her home or with her growing up, knowing, oh no, because we co-sleeped and all the things. And so it's like, wow, that's powerful. And then she called the person and said, hey, maybe your God's real.
Wow.
Can I do something? Can I come work in the kitchen? And yeah, so she just started working inside out and cooking meals for teens and yeah, helping people that were struggling with addictions and yeah, just, you know, becoming a lover of people and saying like you have value and it's beyond whatever this is that you're trying to
Mm.
cope with, you know. So
So
I love
you're a
that.
lot like her. I mean that in the best way. Your mom, a lover of people.
Yeah,
You are a lover of people. Literally you
I
can
am.
feel your love in your hugs and you're
Mm,
genuine. And so your mom must. It sounds like your mom was that, a lover of people. And because I think
yes.
once we pull away the stuff that we have used to cope and to survive in life and to soothe the pain of our own souls, like
Mm,
it's not that you never see the real person, even if they have an
yeah.
addiction, right? It's not like you never see that real side
No.
of them. And I think you saw that in you saw that you knew the real mom, the real woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when they're able to be free of some of that stuff, you see more of that beautiful
Mm-hmm.
human that she is in your life. And I think if you put the two of you together, that's at least one or two of the things that you get from her. We haven't talked about your dad, but it sounds
Mm-hmm.
very much like what a I don't know. I think stories are worth passing down because I think that's how we pass history, right? It's generation and generation. And what have you taken? What baton have you taken from your mom
Mm-hmm.
and are now running with that you will eventually pass to? Sometimes I don't necessarily know it's our children, but whoever's supposed to take the baton from you and that,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that I can see that what your mom has given you just in the little bit that I've known you, and
Can
hearing
I
your story.
share a visual that was given to me a
Yeah.
couple years ago? I was at a retreat, a women's retreat. And so we have a long lineage of women in our family, and all of us have very similar past traumas, I would
Yeah.
say, like very similar. And so I was meditating and I am sitting out at Seaside or Cannon Beach and I'm listening to the ocean and I'm in this awesome state. And I get this very, very abrupt picture in this visualization of my Grams, my mom's mom, and she is in the thickest, darkest, I mean, muck, like oily pit of stuff, and she's completely submerged. You can't see any of her, but I can see her for some reason. Like it's like an MRI machine, like I'm seeing through the
Mm.
mud. I can see her, and then I can see my mom who is standing on top of my mom's shoulders or my grandmother's shoulders, and my mom is also equally covered, but there is just the tip of her nose is above, so she has like part of her nostril or her nair is above and everything else is just covered. And then I'm my mom's only daughter, and I'm on my mom's shoulders, and I have the muck up to a certain point on my body, but I'm like mostly out of the muck, and I can feel the sun, and I'm breathing the air, and I can hear the ocean, and that visual
Oof.
is like this lineage of like strong women in our family who have gone through things and we've stood up and we know that we're standing on each other's like on that history and on that and like knowing that I'm the one that kind of broke out is like it's powerful. But
Totally.
yeah,
What a beautiful
I know.
vision
So
and visual.
yeah.
It's that lines right up with really your life. Yeah. Well, I love
I'm
that.
thankful.
So then what was it like when your mom then turns her life around, pouring into all these people? You see you get to, what I love about that story is you actually were able to get to see the beauty of a life turned around and see your mom enjoying
Yeah.
life, right? Um, and then she's diagnosed with cancer.
Hmm.
What was that like
Well,
caring for her? I cared for my, and it was very short. I was with my grandmother the last 10 days when she had cancer and died. But when I walked in, she took one look at me and my dad and my stepmom. We all showed up to kind of visit with her. And she just said, "You are sleeping with me." And so I did everything from her, the end of the life suppositories, flipping her, sleeping with her, all the thing, wiping her, working with the hospice. That was one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done because I loved my grandmother so much. Hard life. And so I'm curious what that was like for you.
yeah. Well, this is where this is the dark side of me. And that is that I had just become a respiratory therapist, started my career. I was kind of the breadwinner. And she gets her diagnosis, and I knew she had maybe a couple months to live. So she was really adamant, wanting to stay independent, didn't want to move in right away. She had two spells where she had to go to the hospital. And the second one, I was like, I'm moving you in. I can't have you doing this. I just need to we're going to move you in. So in one day, all my friends, we just went over, moved all of her stuff and brought her into my house. And I got care. I had another roommate with us at the time who was, he's now a doctor. He was studying at the time to become a doctor. And so I knew a good person to care for her while I wasn't there working. And then I had brought in hospice team, and I was listening to the hospice person, the nurse, and she's like, I think you need to take some time off. I think. And I'm like, no, she's up and she was lucid and normal. But I just kept working. And so the caring part was after my hours, right? So it's in the nights and the evenings and the weekends and all that. But I did not actually take the right amount of time, I would say, to care for her. But she also was not like in bed laid up. She was adamant to be. So I took her on her last trip. We were trying to get to Bend. We drove to Sisters. That's as far as we could make it. So I took her to the Metolius Head and I showed her like where it comes out, and then we get into the town. We have coffee because that's she just drank coffee. She wasn't really a big eater, but coffee, black coffee. And I was like, we are going to sit here, and we just enjoyed all of that. She'd never been there. And then I was able to have her in my home, and like the night before, I was like Thanksgiving. So she was sitting at the table with me while I was making like leftover turkey dumpling soup. That's what I would typically do with the leftovers.
Hmm.
And she's at the bar top, and we're just talking, and I'm just cooking and doing the thing and making the soup. And it's like vats of it, like gallons and gallons of it. Cause it was just, I don't know, whenever you start making soup, I feel like it just grows. Right.
Uh-huh.
So we're just laughing and doing the thing, and she's eating it. And I'm like, yes, I love when she's eating because I
Yeah.
needed her to eat. And she had an insatiable appetite when she was chemo, but it wasn't a lot. It was like she wanted to eat everything, but it would be like a bite or two. So it was like I would make everything and anything just so that she would eat something, and because nothing felt good. You're
Mm.
nauseous. And then she went to bed, and then it's 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm upstairs, or I'm up and I'm doing laundry. I'm like, that's weird. Her door's not out. She's not drinking coffee with me. This is odd. And then I opened the door, and I was like, oh, she has passed. And that was it. It was like it was nothing. You would not have known that was going to be the last night, because she was just so vibrant and alive and not sick like you expect. So yeah, it was different. And then I just bathed her. I brought Turner, my friend that was our other roommate, the one that's now a
Wow.
doctor. I we um he helped me move and kind of take off, because you kind of get rigid a little bit.
Yeah.
And I, yeah, bathed her, and I put in an outfit, and then I called the hospice nurse. Well, I called the hospice nurse before, and just did it like a wake. I opened all the windows, brought every single candle into the room. I called her brothers, asked if they want to come and see her, because they were also shocked it was this fast. But we did have a month before, like a family gathering at the coast, which was really special. So all the brothers, all of her family got to see her,
Yeah.
and they were able to come down and see her before I had the morgue come and pick her up, which was
Wow.
really special. So yeah, I mean, I had friends. I don't really remember all of that part, but it was like people were coming and bringing flowers. And so the flowers and the candles and the window, and we just all just hung out with her in the room all day long,
Wow.
singing songs or just kind of hanging. But yeah, it was really, and she had a dog. So it was really important that the dog was with her. It
Yeah.
was her dog. And that was a really hard thing for us to figure out. The dog did not cope well with her absence, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was kind of the passing. It was, I also, like you, I think I had experience with palliative and hospice work in chronic patients that have, lots of different ailments that cause them to pass. But I always think it's an honor and a privilege to walk with people who are in those stages because there's a grittiness, there's a lovely, authentic, genuine wholesomeness of a human who's facing their impending death. And it's also very honorable because it's a space that is very vulnerable for so many people. And
Totally.
so you get to see sometimes the worst parts of humans,
Yeah.
and that's a hard part. It's sometimes people can't handle how their emotions come out, and I have a lot of grace and I can see like, oh hey, I'm not going to judge that.
Yeah.
That's this isn't a response and a reaction. You can explore that later, but this isn't the time or place. So people are going to respond the way they're going to respond, but it's a very honorable place to be with someone on their last days. I had
Yeah.
no idea it was my mom's last day though. So I wish I would have taken time off. So whenever I meet people who are having a family member or a loved one, I'm always like, don't work. Just like you need to be there. Like just take all the time because it is important. It's
Yeah.
valuable. You just don't know.
Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I think as I hear, when I went through it with my grandmother, one of my most favorite people on the planet, when I went through it with her and she passed, I was so overjoyed. It's a joy I couldn't, still to this day I can't even put into words really. People are, oh, I'm so sorry grandmother died. And I was like, don't be sorry. Oh my gosh, I had 76 years with like the most
Yeah.
incredible grandmother
Yeah.
because it was I felt so fulfilled that I was able to care for her in the most vulnerable way.
Yeah.
Every part of your body, the most humbling that she had to go through to let me come and take care of her. And my dad cried, just thank you for, you have no idea what you've done for me. I felt like
Hmm.
I went there to love on her, and yet I felt like I got more out of it than even she did. It was just one of
Yeah.
those. I was so like, please don't say you're sorry. It was an honor, and some people don't get to live with their grandma. I did the
Yeah.
best, and she was hard, but
Yeah.
such a beautiful woman. So when I was
Yeah.
going, and when we worked, hospice was great. Hospice was incredible for us. And they gave us a couple of books to read. And I was so engrossed in the whole process. I was so present and so engrossed in the moment. I became a hospice volunteer when I came home. I was just like, nobody should die alone. I was so into it. But one of the books that the hospice nurse gave me was Tuesday Mornings with Maury, I think it's called. And it just talked about, I don't know if it was that book or the other book, but it was really all about the gift, the last minute gifts that your loved one who's passing gives you. And sometimes they will pass a certain way. And you may say, like, I wish I would have taken more time. And like, you would have never known that the night before we had this, she ate and I was cooking for her, and then I went in and she passed. The way they go oftentimes for loved one, it actually is a gift. And I hear the way she went. I was like, what a beautiful last night. You two had to get, you're like, I just love to
Yeah.
watch her eat. And in her own
Yeah.
way, that was her final gift, that, it wasn't such a traumatic ending. She was in your home, and she went to bed
Mhm.
after a good meal, and
Heck yeah. Yeah.
look at the way you got to celebrate, and people were able to come with the candles. And I just thought, wow, what a gift. Many don't get to have.
Yeah.
And I often think, it's just a beautiful story. The more and I've thought about your mom since we met last time. Just to go, gifts come in so many different packages, in so many different ways. Like, makes me want to cry, because I guarantee you, just knowing you, that your mom was probably just as genuine as you, and what a gift to her community. You know,
Totally.
that you just have a woman in need of some care. Her soul needs care, and we don't always get it the way we're supposed to. what an impact. And it doesn't look like the world would polish it up, like you're supposed to be successful. And yet the way she died,
Yeah.
it sounds like many people were impacted in such a beautiful way. So I'm thank you for sharing her with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
What would you say to mother daughters? Let's go mother daughters, because it's usually females who watch this. Maybe they have a rocky, not the best. Maybe they long to have a good relationship. What would you say to those women? Any advice?
Any advice to mothers and daughters?
Yeah, or like to
Oh,
it from a daughter, and their mom maybe isn't. Maybe they're in that place of still. Oh, I'm so angry with her, and
mm,
the reality is they're losing time, right?
mm,
Is
that's
there
the
anything
truth.
you would pass on to a younger you, really, or other women?
Oh, Younger You. That's a good song. Miley Cyrus just came out with that.
Oh,
If you haven't heard it, you need to listen to it.
oh,
It'll make you cry. I think that I was given a gift of from my best friend talking about both realities can be true. So having your hands,
mm,
opening your hands like this, and so yes, you can really struggle with the things that bother you about your mom's personality. The way that she nitpicks, the way that she's mothering, the way that she's smothering, the way that she's, texts you, wants to know your location, wants to know where you are. The way that she wants you to maybe go to the school she went to, or big, don't date that person, or, stop those bad habits, whatever it is, that's in this hand. At the same time, in this hand over here is that is a mom who, it's a woman. It's not your mom. It's a woman, and she's a human who is deeply in love with you as a person and wants the best for herself and for you. That person has wounds that probably needed that nurturing. And so when you think about the calls that she has for that younger person, perhaps she never had someone caring for her. It's just trying to take the perspective of, can you, for a moment, remember that your mom was your age and maybe she didn't have that care? So
mm.
that's, I don't have a lot of advice. I don't like to give advice. I just
That's
like to
so
say, let's
good.
let's blow perspective up. Let's open it and hold that both things can be true,
Yeah,
good things and bad things, right?
yeah,
So yeah, open hands, open hands.
I love that.
Yeah.
So your mom poured into you. You and I are similar in the sense that, and I as I chewed on just our time together, what I love about you, the connection we had, and then um, talking with you today is you went through the foster care, or you not foster, you work with a foster,
Yes.
so you're with Salem Angels,
Hmm.
and you're all about foster care. You're the director, is that right?
I am.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're the director. Amazing organization, I'm learning. I didn't really know too much about it. And yet, the biggest thing that probably prepared you to be so gifted and the leader there is the hard life that what you went through. Not just you're smart, you went to school, top, great grades, great. Some of that is that both end, right? Sometimes I think our greatest training is some of the harder moments in our life. And I think what you bring to that organization and what your to be an advocate for the children who need the organization you work for, is you get it. Much like my dream has always been to have a healing center for children of divorce. And really, it's about just helping people rebuild their life. It doesn't matter where you start, you can actually rebuild your life no matter where you are, what you've been through. And I love that. So, talk to me about. I, I was looking up Salem Angels. I'm kind of giggling because sometimes I get so overwhelmed I can't even put words to what I'm trying to say. Because as I get to know you, man, these kids,
Hmm.
talk about warrior. You're a warrior to speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, to lead a group, an organization who will fight and do whatever to help bring this consistency. In on the website, it says Salem Angels is all about transforming foster care experience since 2020, and consistent relationships are the solution. Why, out of
Hmm.
all sentences, that one consistent relationships are the solution? Why that?
Oh, because it only takes one person in a child's life to stand beside them and to that's it. I mean that enough is alone to stand beside them while they're living, and that can change the trajectory. So that is a relationship that will change the trajectory of that child's course based on
One
all the
person.
stats. One person beside that child, that youth experiencing whatever they're experiencing, but mostly like we're called to foster care. So yeah, it's a big deal. Relationship is, it does something. We're communal beings. We aren't independents. We're all meant for connection. And so
Yeah.
they need that connection. And most of them have broken connections.
Broke it, and then they go in survival mode, right? But our souls still long for connections, what we've been created for. And
Yeah.
just that's amazing to, it takes one. But there was also on your website, you have these stats.
Oh, yeah.
Stats are not final, but these are some start. 50% of foster homes close within the first year. Why is that?
Mhm. Oh man, I mean it's trauma. It's trauma to bring in children who are experiencing so much, and so that's why it's so different to have an organization like us that provides support for those homes that say yes to fostering.
Okay.
It is, it's one thing. I'm a foster adoptive parent, so that means I had youth that were in foster care that then were adopted in my home. And you think when you start the journey that you're going to have all the people in your life and all the community around you. And in fact, it actually changes. People can't handle maybe the behaviors, or they don't want your kids around their kids because they're going to rub off their bad behaviors or whatever. And you end up becoming very isolated as a foster parent. And so
Mm.
our one of our programs is so key in helping that statistic right there, that we don't want those homes closing. We have a crisis in Marion County with right now 54 homes that are available, general homes for the three almost 400 kids that are experiencing foster care. That's not enough homes for a caseworker who is investigated and said this child needs to be removed for the safety of their well-being.
Oh,
We only
wow.
have these 54 homes to call. That shouldn't be the case.
Mm.
So if we have families that are saying yes to that, that's where we come in and say Salem Angels has your back. We got people that want to come around you and say yes to you, be there for you, support you through intentional relationships, whatever that looks like. Having coffee, picking up the phone, meeting with them, having a meal. Just maybe you're watching the kids for a little bit. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just dropping off some tangible goods because you can't get at the grocery store. It is
Yeah.
very, very hard and isolating. And I think that statistic is something that it should scare people, but it should be like, oh, I want to not let that be the case for my community. Like, let's not let that be.
Wow.
Says, yeah, it's a gross statistic. fifty
It's
percent of homes. That's not good.
Yeah, I mean that is scary. You also have another one. It's
Yeah,
1 in 5 youth in foster care face homelessness by age 18.
yeah, that's very common. A lot of it is that they might age out, so age out of the system.
Yeah.
One of the things that's really great though is we do have a program. The state has a program called the Independent ILP, Independent Living Program. So a lot of our youth do have options of getting housing or helping them transition out of foster care and into independent young adulthood.
Hmm.
So yeah, we don't want those youth being unhoused.
So then, do you know how it's 1 in 5, but there
Hmm.
is a transition? Do a lot of them, or do they not take it? I mean, obviously, there's a
It's
variety of different reasons, but is there enough, like, because there's not enough homes for all the kids for foster care, is there also not enough
yeah,
room for the
it's wait
ones
list.
transitioning? Right. We
Yeah.
have so many home, I mean, like empty homes or buildings downtown. Why in the world can we not figure that out? That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, but you need people. You
I
need people to
know.
help. Yeah, it takes a community.
It does. It takes a village. I get that, but I just think,
Yeah.
50% of youth in foster care do not graduate high school.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Well, I mean, you think about it. How focused can you be if you're worried about
Yeah.
your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad that you
Yeah.
don't see? Like
Yeah.
school doesn't matter. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a hard one.
Yeah. 80% of children in foster care experience significant mental health challenges. Well, that
Hmm.
one makes sense. 80% is a really scary high number.
Yeah, it is.
And then the last one, you have a 60% of youth formerly in care live below the poverty line.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the, they didn't graduate. Maybe they don't have a GED. They can't get a really good job or, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's the whole system. What do you think needs to happen? Like, I mean, I know it's a
Yeah,
big question. There's a
that's
lot
a
that
big
needs to happen,
question.
but
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm reading a book. I'm going to pull the title up. I'm reading a book right now that is so powerful. It is called How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LaPera.
mm,
And it is all about recognizing patterns and healing from your past, but it's a lot about healing that inner child. And so
mm,
I think a lot of our cultural problems or issues, obstacles, barriers,
yeah,
rooms for growth,
yeah,
um, that it's looking at this. We just kind of treat people for the symptom and not like look at them in a whole way.
hmm,
And it comes down to like that visual that I had, right? Like my grandmother was in the muck, my mom was in that, but there is something in there that helped us get out of that. And so it does, it just takes a person, it takes someone saying yes to these kids, saying yes to our healthcare needs to be supported in some way. I'm not going to get political. I don't talk
yeah.
about
No,
what
no,
we need to
no.
do, but
Yeah,
it's like there are so many things that we can do. And I think the biggest thing is that we all can do, every single person can do, is just, it's kindness. It's be thoughtful, have that kindness. It goes a long way. You can have so much going on, but you don't have to be a jerk,
yeah.
when you're out in the world. So it's like if you can smile to someone, if you can share something. Like someone noticed that I was having a hard day on Sunday on my team. Like, hey, you're kind of quiet. And I was like, yeah, I kind of spent the day in the hospital with my daughter. Like, so mindful of you to notice that I was off today. Just my dragon boat person. I don't know this person very well. And it's
Yeah.
like that kindness, it's that helps boost us as
Yep.
humans. That's that connection piece. So it all comes back to that. Like we got to be kinder. We got to be looking out for everybody, not just ourselves.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
so good and so simple.
Yeah. It's simple. Everybody can be kind.
Hmm. Choices. Yeah. Um, Now, say somebody doesn't, they don't necessarily feel like I don't want. I'm not in a place where I feel like I want to be or called to be a foster parent
Oh
or
yeah.
home. What are
Mhm.
other ways that Salem Angels
Well, we
can help?
don't we don't we don't certify people to become foster homes. We're the
Uh,
ones that are like, hey, you want to help somebody that is doing fostering, you can build a relationship and be a love box group. So you could come alongside and say yes to that family that is doing that, and they just show
uh,
up once a month. Or we have our mentors. So I'm a mentor in our program. Our youth can be one-on-one mentored.
mm,
Twice a month is what we would recommend, that our youth are seen with the mentor. And then obviously, you can always volunteer. We have kid fun nights. We do background checks, of course, but
sure.
we have kid fun nights where children get a night to hang out with our staff and our volunteers and play and have a great time and get to engage as a community of kids. And the foster parents get to go out for a night and have a little gift card and go eat at a local restaurant and
Huh,
have a little break for a couple hours. So those are ways
yeah.
that people can give their time. They volunteer. It's not too much of a commitment. 3 hours.
You
So
know, what's the love box?
Love Box is our big program where we have our it could be one family or a group of people, like a business, or it could be a book club that comes alongside and says yes to the resource family or the foster family. And so they get connected with them, and that resource family has that Love Box group for a year. So they're going to
Hmm.
come along once a month and provide tangible goods, and a relationship is the big thing, but it's
Wow.
for everybody in the home. So it's mom, yeah, whoever is in the home, yeah, they're going to have some support.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
love that. Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, what's your, all right, last question. What is your, Miss Director, what is the, give me the vision. Like, what do you hope, where do you hope to take it? Like, what is your, what do you see?
Mm. I mean, we want every single child that is in Marion and Polk County to have a mentor and to be supported in the homes that they're in. So everybody should be in our programs. So obviously, the ideal goal is that there are no children in foster care, but that isn't realistic. It's not a reality. So something that's tangible is that every youth that is experiencing foster care
Yeah.
has somebody in their life saying yes to them, and I see you and you have value and your hope,
Mm.
we have hope for you. And that's just having a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So we will
Yep.
put all the connection. If somebody is interested or has questions, where can they go or
SalemAngels.org.
okay?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then do you guys also do social media and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Same. Salem Angels on
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, and we do have a YouTube channel too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. We'll put all the connections in there for people to connect and if they got
Nice.
questions or want to donate or volunteer or whatever.
Yeah.
What a cool organization.
Yeah.
Thanks for all that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate
It's
you.
awesome.
Thanks for
Thank
sharing
you.
your mom. Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
your heart. You're just one of the
Yeah.
coolest people.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You
you.
are.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
wanting to
We need
hear
more
my
of
story.
you. We do. We do. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
And good luck on your next race. I'll see you there.